This word problem is using fractions, and the question is even asking how many flowers are pink out of 128. So again, we're looking at parts of a whole, and every piece of this word problem is involving fractions, which is parts of a whole. So we want to start by showing a fraction model to represent the information we know. Our whole, it says we have 128 flowers. So our whole is 128. And I'm putting the unit as well, just so I know what we're talking about. That's always a good practice. Okay, label your whole on the top of your fraction model. So now the information says we have 1/8 of the flowers are red, 1/4 of the flowers are purple, and 1/5 of the remaining flowers are pink, meaning we need to look at the remaining flowers. We have red, we have purple, and we have the remaining, okay? So let's label that real quick. We have red, and 1/8 of all the flowers are red. We have purple. 1/4 of all the flowers are purple. And then we have our remaining. And then with that information, what it says is that 1/5 of the remaining. So bring your remaining down here. We want to look at remaining. 1/5 of the remaining are pink. And that is what we need to find out. We need to find that out, the pink flowers. So in order to even find out the pink flowers, we need to know 1/5 of what? We don't know that number because that's this remaining number here, which means we need to figure out the remaining flowers. In order to figure out the remaining flowers, we must find out these numbers because we have this math information. We just don't have the fractions written as our number of flowers. But we can easily figure that out because we know the total. And so if we have a fraction and a total, you can calculate as we did in the past. Let's do that quickly. Red flowers is 1/8 of 128. 1/8 of 128. Again, what does of mean? Multiplication, yes. So let's change that to multiplication and let's solve. 1/8 times 128. Again, that's going to give us 1 times 128, 128, and over 8. 128 divided by 8. I'm going to do it in my head real quick, but if you had to do long division, remember the 8 can't go into 1, it can go into 12 by 1. Good. Subtract, so it's 4, bring down the 8. So 8 goes into 48 6 times. So your answer is 16. 128 divided by 8 is 16. If you did it as long division to the side, cool. You would have seen like this. Just like that. Okay, 48, subtract, is all good. Okay, cool. So, red is actually 16 flowers. Awesome. Now you gotta do the same thing for purple. 1/4 of 128. So that's 1/4 times 128, which is 128 over 4. Let's see, 4 goes into 12, 3, and then 4 goes into the 8, 2, 32. So purple is 32 flowers. So now let's look at this and think about, okay, how do I use that information to find my remaining flowers?